So let's hop in to game number 1. Spawning in the lower right-hand corner of Site Delta, we have our Canadian ladder hero, the ape that is Mape. Maples. Maples the Aples. And he's up against playing Zerg. Going by the appropriate moniker YouTubeMan, it is none other than uThermal. More like uTherman. Yeah? Honestly, YouTubeMan and uThermal are much more similar than I would have thought. It should be YouTubeMan, but with the just the lowercase u, take off the Y and the O. And then instead of N, it should be an L. YouTubeMal. Yeah, there we go. We got it. We got the strats here. We got the strats. Now it looks like we do have a spawning pool and a gas first here for uThermal, so being a little bit cheeky, bringing the cheeky builds to Maplez. Maplez, of course, a proficient NA ladder player, has been #1 on the NA ladder. Probably has seen some cheekiness in his days. Very intrigued by what uThermal's going to be doing here, though. Just have a queen, no Ling speed started up. No Lings on the way. All right, there's Ling speed. There it is. Maplez up, feeling confident. Does go Cybercore before Nexus. Still getting that Nexus up quick. Popping the Zealot out just in case some Lings come across. Now, where is Maplez going to be headed from here? It's going to be an Adept. I love this probe going back in. The scouting probe to see what's up. Sees 2 Lings and a Queen. Sees Ling speed on the way. That's really crucial. Seeing that it's a Ling speed build and not, I guess, lair first, not roaches, and that there's not many Lings out. That's really important. Maplez is going to send that Adept across. I don't know how I feel about that one exactly. Against Ling speed, which is getting pretty close already, that Adept is going to have a tough time staying alive. But I guess it's better to have it out on the map, checking out what's going on, than just staying home scared. Now this is a gateway in the wall, but there's a Stargate in the main base here for Maplez. Of course, Stargate's very, very good against Ling-based builds. The Adept goes in. It gets a drone, but just the one drone. It sees the lair is almost done, though, and I would imagine saw not many drones here at this base. I'm not sure if Maplez detoured around through that natural. There's nothing here, though, for Maplez, and this is a bit of a problem. I see what this is. Oh, there is a Stalker that's going to see this Overlord and is going to try to do some damage to it, but it will be able to unload the Lings. These are Speedlings, and that's a bit of a problem. Now, there's also going to be a drop in the natural. The shield battery here going to be very helpful, but there's no other units on the way in those gateways. The Void Ray is popping out. Looks like the Lings in the main base are being handled. The ones in the natural are going to come up and join up. 3 probes do fall, but so far, this has been well handled by Maplez, who's going to use the probes to help fight this a little bit. With that shield battery, they will not die. The Stalker, while it doesn't do that much damage to the Lings, also, well, it's staying alive. And it looks like this Void Ray is just going to pop both of these Overlords, which, remember, are very expensive, right? Not only is it an Overlord, the supply of uThermal, the supply cap 1 out of 52, but it's also a Dropper Lord. I don't remember exactly how much that costs, but, you know, it's an investment. That's going to be a gas investment. Okay, I guess it's not that much gas. But how much gas does a Dropper Lord cost? Is it just minerals? I guess it must be. 25 gas wouldn't make sense for 2 of those. The Lings have not quite been taken care of, but they're just about there. The Void Ray is going to go out on the map now. Now back at home, uThermal is getting into a Spire. So a Spire as the response here to what he's been seeing so far. And, you know, I kind of dig that because Void Rays don't deal with mutas all that well. Ooh, Maples. He needs to scout this Spire. The Spire's about to pop. Honestly, like, 3 Corruptors would just fully kill anything, too. Like, if Phoenix start to come out and he just mix in a couple Corruptors, the problem for Maples is he's trying to go for Glaives. Now, this is kind of interesting, right? Because Glaives can do the same thing that the Mutas can do and just pop in and get a lot of worker damage done very quickly. So if Maples is able to get a few Adepts around, something like this, and just get in there with Adepts. These Adepts have Glaives. Look at how quickly. That is 5 drones just fully dead. As these Adepts are going to get that damage done. That's just 2 Adepts. Now they're going to get cleaned up by the Mutas. There's already a Phoenix on the way. Second Phoenix now on the way out. Maple's going to send out more Adepts, and I think this is absolutely the correct call. Because uThermal is busy droning. He's taking a 3rd base. He's probably not going to be building too many Lings back at home. So 4 Adepts could be a really big deal here. Getting in, and I'm assuming that uThermal's kind of thinking about that possibility. I don't know if he realized those Adepts had Glaives. But with Phoenixes coming out now, there's 2 of them, plus the Void Ray, plus Shield Batteries already in position. This 3rd base is going to be pretty much impossible to take. Oof, that turnaround for Maples was kind of sexy, I'm not going to lie. He got too close to the Mutas, and he just turned the other way and went through them. They are going to get jumped on again. But those Phoenixes will get out of there, and in the meantime, Adepts are sneaking in, getting 10, 12 drone kills. Oh, and it's just getting worse and worse as Maples is focus firing drones in the main. He was doing it in the natural as well, but there's no drones left in the mineral line. The Mutas will clean this up, but this is game-ending damage. And Maples with the Phoenix over here. He is going to drop that Queen. There's a couple of Hydras popping out, but he'll finish off that Queen. 22 drones going down, make that 24 drones. That, guys, was for 4 Adepts. That was such an insanely good trade. And now uThermal down to 26 workers. He's got 3 bases, but he just has no economy with this. Trying to get Hydras out, and I really like the idea of going for those Hydras. Had the Adepts not just decimated his economy, I think delaying the 3rd, getting into Hydras, it would have been very difficult for Maples. But now, Maples just going to have a much better economy. Glaive Adepts are not that bad against Hydras if you have enough of them. Theoretically, Maples should be able to have enough of them. It's going to be very difficult for uThermal to fight his way back into this one. The Phoenix is also reigning supreme in the sky. There are 5 Mutas and 6 Phoenixes. So the Hydras can help out, but I honestly doubt they have any upgrades. So they've got their range upgrade, but they're still going to be very slow to try to move back and forth, which is going to just leave a lot of these drones vulnerable. So even as uThermal tries to get that drone count back up, the 3rd base is just devoid of workers. And as the Hydras go over here, Phoenixes just hit the main base. These are 2 very low Queens, and they're going to be 2 very dead Queens. There's no Spore Crawler here. uThermal trying to keep as many drones usable as possible. The Mutas are going to get in, and you know what? Not a single thing over here shoots up, but there is a proxy gateway right now. There's a bunch of Glaive Adepts heading across. Charge is done. The Mutas are finally getting some worker damage done. This is what they've been planning to do, but the Phoenixes are going to clean them up. And then looks like the Phoenixes are going to head across the map and help out with these Adepts. If the Phoenixes lift half of these Hydras, the Adepts will win that fight. And in fact, we're not even going to let that thought finish. As uThermal will tap out, Maples will take game number 1, holding on against the double Dropper Lord Speedling drop. Really, really well. Honestly, I was really worried, seeing that there was no like other ground units. There was the 1 Stalker and the 1 Zealot in the wall. The Adept went out across the map. Nothing else in production at those gateways. Just the Void Ray. But with a couple of shield batteries, some good positioning. Only 3 probes got lost for that opening from uThermal, and that was a very committed opening. Kind of have to do damage with that in order for the rest of the game to go your way. I did like the transition into Mutas. I thought that was a great follow-up. And, I don't know, could really take advantage of something like Glaives. but Maple's getting out there with just a couple of adepts that uThermal didn't see leave. It's one of the downfalls, I guess, of going for those dropper load openings is the overlords both died. So there was suddenly no vision on Maple's side of the map for uThermal. I don't know. Very well played by Maples. uThermal going to have to step up that cheekiness. You know, if he wants to out-ape the ape. And he's going to stick with Zerg. Going into game number 2. We're here on Alcyone, and in the upper right-hand corner, we have Maples. So far, out-aping his opponent, who in the lower left, and try to Zerg him up again. It's uThermal. Getting turned into content for YouTube, man, is everyone's greatest fear. Actually, at the start of the last game, right before we got into the game, Maple said in the lobby, first thing I'm doing tomorrow is checking your YouTube. Joke's on Maples. Not only will he get to see himself on uThermal's YouTube, but both Steadfast and I are casting this right now, which means almost surely this game will be on both of our YouTube channels as well. Which you just love to see. Now, this is kind of fun here. Maples is going to cancel that. I was kind of hoping he'd keep it. But it's a gold base here out of uThermal. Maples is checking around for proxy bases, which is always a good call when you're up against somebody who's going to play cheeky like this. Did he actually scout back there? No, he didn't, right? Oh, he did. He did. Okay, he saw it. I was like, that probe didn't get close enough. So he knows what it is. He knows it's a gold base. He knows it's quick link speed again. I guess he doesn't know it's link speed necessarily, but that would make a lot of sense here. We have seen builds like this with the gold base, with the gas, where it's a roach build. Specifically, Dark has done a roach build using the gold base on this map a bunch. I think usually he goes for the back of the gold base, but it would work pretty much just as well here as it would the other way. Maple's going to hit him with the Zelly, and then he's going to be sending some adepts out as well. There are some lings here, but 8 more lings on the way. And that means uThermal can't just send drones straight over here. He can't just start building drones. He's got to clear this up first. And this is really, really nice for Maples. I love how that adept is staying back, too. Off creep, just outside of vision. I think it did pop into vision at this point. So these lings might try to hit on the backside. Yeah, good link positioning here from uThermal. Maple's going to have to back up. Ling speed is done. These two adepts, I think, need to group up together. But if they are together, they will not be killable there. But this is really nice. Just a couple of zealots, or one zealot and 2 adepts, delayed this base from mining for a long time. The lings didn't really get anything done, just killing the one zealot for 3 lings. uThermal is going to drop a Roach War now, and is going to go for another Dropper Lord. Now, I did see a Stalker here, so we could see a Stalker hit this, but it looks like the 2 Adepts are going to come over and see what's going on, and they will spot this. They're going to go hang out now in the nice little choke point as Glaives is once again on the way. This time, a few more lings are going to join up as uThermal is just going to keep on dropping lings. The shield battery is not done yet, so these probes are very vulnerable. The probes are going to turn to fight and help this out as the Adepts are getting hit too. The Adepts, oh, they're going to live. They're going to live. The probes drilled through, and the Stalker is here. uThermal deciding he's not going to get much damage done. It's just going to drop down onto the low ground. The Stalker doing a lot of damage to this Overlord. It won't kill it, but that means that Overlord's going to really not want to drop back in. However, Roach Horn is done. Roach Speed is on the way because the Lair is done. Burrow? No, he cancels Burrow. I mean, I kind of love the idea of burrow. Ooh, the Stalker and the Adept's going to move out here. Stalker will fall for that Overlord kill, but I mean, killing the Dropper Lord feels like it's worth it for a Stalker. Man, maybe. Stalker's not really going to help much anyways, but... Glaives is done. A third gate is on the way, and not only that, there is that's actually a fourth gate, as there's a third gate already done out on the map. Proxied. There's a Spine Crawler here, but it just unburrowed. The Roaches just walked away, and these 4 Glaives Adepts going to get a couple of free drone kills, as 2 more Adepts make it through into the main base. One of them is very low. The Spine Crawler's not done yet. I love that uThermal has added these Spine Crawlers in specifically to stop the Adepts from doing as much damage. However, 7, 9, 10 drones already going down. Not to mention, Spine Crawlers each cost a drone, and they cost a bunch of money that could have been drones. So even with these Spine Crawlers, 10 drones going down is pretty brutal for uThermal. There's no third base. Oh, extra free drone. 2 extra free drones. And these 2 Adepts are going to make it into the main with 4 more Adepts about to hit. However, the Roaches are hitting over here, and there's nothing back at home. A Super Shield Battery is going to help this Adept stay alive, but the Shield Battery is going to get gunned down now. A few Stalkers are warping in. Without a Shield Battery, this is looking pretty dire right now for Maplez back at home. A couple of these Roaches are very low. The Pylon's going to buy a little more time. So many drones going down on the other side of the map. Probes are getting pulled here, which I think is absolutely the right call. And it looks like these Stalkers will hold off against these Roaches. And with that, I feel like Maplez is just in a great spot. I gotta say, though, not as high up on probes as I would have thought. 10 probes going down there, but it's 32 to 26. uThermal obviously has the gold bases, which is going to help quite a bit with the mineral income. But this main is just, there's just no drones here. I think it was like 24, 26 drones went down just then. 27 in total this game. So even though the 10 probes got killed, the worker count is, still in favor for Maplez. uThermal, I think, is in a much better spot than last game. That being said, the Dark Shrine is done, so the potential for DTs to sneak in is pretty huge. We don't see any spores. Just going to say we don't see an Overseer, but we are seeing it now. Just in time, I guess, for this DT, which is posturing out here. Ooh, we've got Hydras on the way. As 2 more Glaives Adepts are going to get in and just target down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 workers. Jesus. 6 in total, as it looks like this DT went in. Got 1 kill and then left. The Overseer is here. Hydras are trying to go across the map, but again, I feel like Hydras are really dangerous against Glaive Adepts, and Blink is now done for the Stalkers as well. So these Hydras trying to escape will get caught. I'm worried for uThermal, man. He's got a lot of army, but he's got no economy behind it. It's a little dicey. It's a little dicey. Stalker's going to find the Hydras, grab 1, and then back up. Stalkers don't really want to take that fight. Hydras do okay against Stalkers straight up. The Blink, though, gives them a lot of mobility. And just like we saw, they can just get 1 guaranteed kill and leave before anything dies. If Maplez can keep that kind of thing up, he'll be in a great spot. A few Lings coming out now. A few Roaches coming out now as well. That's going to help buffer for these Hydras. The big problem with the Hydras is they are pretty vulnerable to damage. Whoa, but now the Stalker's getting a little close. A couple of them will go down. Another pylon going down here for Maplez. It looks like he wants to take his own gold base as he gets in with more Adepts. I think he needs to cancel that shade. No, he's going to let it finish. Sees the third base here. Weirdly positioned. Actually, you know what? That's a very normal position third base. It just feels weird in this game. I love that Maplez is taking the gold. That feels unexpected enough where uThermal might not think to check that. Like, why would he be pathing this way? However, it is very dangerously close to this creep. Stalker's going to find this off-creep queen. Oh, they're not going to get it, though. Don't target it down. 6 drones in the meantime went down during all that. uThermal has lost 39 so far this game. And while a few of these stalkers have gone down, I mean, okay, hold on. uThermal might just win this game. Maplez is actually dead. You know, I thought this was going a lot better for uThermal, or for Maplez rather. He just doesn't have anything back at home. There's no charge lots here. There's no storm. There's no colossi. I thought for sure we'd be tacking into something. But no, it's just going to be a massive army of Hydras. uThermal going for the Mio Micah strategies here. And you know what? It's going to work. Charge isn't even done yet. 3 DTs are going to warp in. I guess they could be an Archon, but with this Overseer here, they're not going to get any damage done on their own. The Super Shield Battery is about to run out. There's the blink forward to get the Overseer. Sacrifices a lot of those Stalkers, but the DTs will chase this away. However, that feels like a temporary victory. Stalker's now going to pick off some of these Hydras on the backside as the DTs will force the Hydras to continue to retreat, but only for so long. There's an Overseer right here and a second one flying over to be with that army. There's DT in the main as well, but looks like it only got 1 kill at the moment. And now Maplez is going to fall back and be in the same position he was in earlier. It looks like he tried to get into double Robo, but with no Robo Bay done, it's just going to be Immortals on the way out. Immortals are like, oh no, the DTs, no! The DTs just walked into the army. If those had pulled back and become 2 Archons, things might have been different. But that is going to be GG. That army is just too big for Maplez to contend with. And uThermal will tie the series up 1-1. Excellent, excellent stuff. I really feel like Maplez was not in that bad of a spot. The Roaches getting 10 probe kills did make it a little bit tougher. But I don't know. He saw those Hydras coming out so early. I guess he just didn't expect like 2 base pure Hydra coming out of uThermal, but Thermal reading the Mio Micah strategy books. You love to see that. Dave Testa, thank you so much for the raid. Dave, why are you not casting? Dave, what are you doing, bud? Nah, I love you, bud. I hope you had a good time playing. GG's. I assume if you're rating me now, that means your opponent won. So GG's. Game 3 is going to be on hard lead. So Dave Testa Raiders, you got here right at the end of Game 2. We're all tied up now. We're ready to go. Now, you guys actually showed up at the perfect time. Perfect time for the Dave raid. Man, I like slept a little weird the last couple days. My lower back hurts. You don't like it. You don't like to see it. All right. Looks like a lot of our top tier players are winning their matches. So we should have some solid games to get into off the back of this one. We'll have to see. We'll keep an eye on it. Might be able to get into a round of 16 match before too long. Now let's go ahead and hop into game number 3, where we are all tied up. Let's go, baby. Spawning in the lower right-hand corner of hard lead, we've got the one and only Maplez, the Aples. So far, doing pretty well, I think, against these goofy strats, cheesy, cheeky strats coming out of his opponent. In the upper left-hand corner, it's the YouTubeMan himself, uThermal. uThermal, just in case you missed game 1, give you a quick little recap here. Game 1, uThermal went for a gas and pool first, which he also did in game 2 and now in game 3. Game 1, it was a double Overlord drop of Speedlings. One in the main, one in the natural. However, Maplez was pretty well set up against it with shield batteries in both the main and the natural. A Void Ray on the way out, and just a couple of units to help deal with those Lings. The Lings just can't really chew through that shield battery energy quick enough. And the Void Ray is able to kill both the Overlords. The follow-up Glaive the Depths ended up killing so many drones that uThermal's follow-up, which was Mutas that were kind of countered very well by the Phoenixes that Maplez made. But then into Hydras, but he just couldn't get enough Hydras out on the low drone count he ended up with after losing a bunch to 4 Adepts with Glaives that were just hit at the perfect time. uThermal was not ready for him and couldn't deal with them well enough. Didn't have enough units. So Maplez took a big lead and then was able to close it out. Game 2, I mean, you guys just saw the end of Game 2. That one was kind of wild. The gold base. Another Ling drop. This one, again, handled very nicely by Maplez. However, the follow-up Roaches, even though the Adepts got a bunch of drone kills again, the follow-up Roaches did enough damage to Maplez that the Hydra follow-up, the follow-up to the follow-up, this is what I love about uThermal. We're not just getting a build or an opening. We're getting an opening with a plan B, and then a plan C, and then a plan D. And we just have the follow-up to the follow-up to the follow-up. But the Hydras were able to crack through Maplez. I think people underestimate like a low eco Hydra kind of build, which is why Mio-Micah has found a lot of success with them. I know I kind of joked about in the last game, but heavy Hydra production on a low worker count is a staple of Mio-Micah's gameplay through the years. And I think it's just because it's so easy to underestimate. You don't think of like 20 Hydras as a threat, because usually when 20 Hydras come out, you already have splash damage or a bunch of anti-light unit stuff to deal with it. And 20 Hydras doesn't feel quite as dangerous. You know, if you have splash damage, 20 Hydras is kind of bad. But as we saw last game, if you have Blink Stalkers and nothing else, 20 Hydras can be really, really good. And that was a problem for Maplez. Now uThermal is going to come over here with some Speedlings again, but it looks like Maplez is pretty well set up for this. The Stalker was in the main base to wait for the drop reward, but it's going to have to come back down here now, as the shield battery is not going to finish in time to save the Zealot. RIP. And it looks like uThermal has figured out the weakness of his opponent, as he is going straight into the Hydra Den. And based on the position of this base, I'm going to go ahead and say he's just going to break down these rocks and go straight through with a bunch of Hydras as quick as possible. Now, it's another Glaives opening here for Maplez. I don't hate this. The Glaive Adepts have given him a lot of drone kills. Also, they're not that bad against Hydras. We haven't really seen that interaction. I've said it in both games so far. We haven't really seen the interaction, though. Like, Mass Glaive Adepts actually kind of crushes Hydras. And I feel like Maplez underestimated that last game. I actually think if he just, instead of replenishing the Blink Stalkers as he was like losing them, trying to pick off units out in the field, if he was just warping in non-stop Glaive Adepts, I straight up think he just wins that game. Maybe I'm, again, underselling the Hydras here, but oh, good movement there from uThermal, getting the Lings in front. He is going to lose a few drones here, but not too many. 2 of those Adepts will sneak on out of there. But Maplez sees the Hydras are coming out with 2 more gateways finishing up right now. It feels like he is going to be going just heavy Adepts with this, and I think that's absolutely the right call. Also like the Glaive Adepts because it's forcing uThermal to be a little bit more defensive with some of these Hydras, I say, as he starts to move out across the map. But this can get kind of dicey. Ooh, uThermal says, actually, what if I attack you? Then maybe you have to be defensive. Hydras are coming in. Super Shield Battery turns on to try to buy some time. Well, it looks like 1 Adept is going to stay over here. The rest of them are going to shade backwards and then recall into the natural, no, into the main base. They got to come down and help. The Super Shield Battery is not going to last any longer. A couple of Adepts on the backside will get caught here. Bit of an awkward engagement for Maplez. who is going to try to harass on the other side at the same time. But as we see, look at these Glaive to Depths, dude. Oh, I'm so confident now that I'm completely right if he just warped in Glaive to Depths last game. Instead of Stalkers, he wins that game. The Hydras try to come down and fight against this, and they will force that away. The dangerous thing about the Hydras here is that they can hit this Warp Prism. So this Warp Prism is getting targeted down now, and it actually will fall. Oh, no, it won't. Hold on. Damn, Prisms are too quick. But now the Hydras were not fighting those Adepts, and suddenly 10 drones going down. There's more Adepts in the third base. Oh, no. uThermal again just losing so many drones here. And not only that, these Hydras are popping out. Lings are popping out and just dying to the Adepts. And that's just GG. We thought the Hydras was the answer to Maples. That's what Game 2 showed us. But no. It turns out Maples had the answer all along. And it was Glaive to Depths. Straight up, the answer was always Glaive to Depths. He just, like, forgot them in Game 2. Forgot about them. It happens. GG, man. uThermal giving us some super fun strats, but Maples holding it down for the North American tournament here. Representing NA. Taking down one of the only 2 high-level Europeans in this bracket.